Getting a job in the music business is not easy, but getting advice from people who have already succeeded could help. That is the hope of more than 100 young musicians who attended a camp in Los Angeles this past summer. Nick Jonas of the Jonas Brothers told the wannabe stars about the importance of social media.
Social media was incredibly important for my brothers and I in the beginning of our career, and still is today, and is a big part of everything we do. And I feel like with Twitter and YouTube and Facebook, there's so many instant ways to connect with your fans.
Other music professionals also shared their knowledge at the week-long camp. The event is part of Grammy in the Schools, a project from the organizers of the music industry's Grammy Awards. The summer camp gives students a chance to improve their music industry skills. Ben LoPiccolo worked on his skills as a music reporter.
I found that I really enjoyed writing and telling people about music that I like to kind of expand their taste.
These teenagers hope to be part of an industry that is going through big changes. Kristen Madsen at the Grammy Foundation points to the influence of social networking on sites like Facebook and Twitter.
I would say that that's probably the biggest theme that you can see is watching the artists and the professionals come through and talk about there are new ways and new roadmaps for kids to succeed in the music industry, and they have a lot more access to doing it themselves.
13-year-old Grayson Chance was preparing to release his first album. He says his career began with a music video on YouTube. Camper Giovanni Quattrocchi was hoping for a career as a music producer. He likes the way music is changing.
Especially in hip-hop, there's a lot of sampling of different genres of music. And I think I'm excited to see where music is going to go.
Young songwriter Elise Go says music is also becoming more international.
I'm also pretty excited. I think it's very cool. I'm really interested in Korean and Asian genre music. So it's like Korean and Chinese pop music, and they're like infusing American influences into their music. And I feel that's very cool to hear, like a pop song you'd think you'd hear on the radio in America in like another language.
Brian London plays keyboard for Lady Gaga and other artists. He told the students that succeeding in music takes more than just having skills.
Being a great player, everybody's a great player. So a lot of artists and management labels and music directors look at more than just being a great player in order to be hired for a gig.
The musicians say most of all, it takes a love of music to succeed in this exciting and ever-changing business.
Hillary Bradley is putting together a chocolate fountain for a private party.
So it's definitely level on the bottom and level on the top.
Ms. Bradley makes and sells chocolates. She says people love her chocolate fountains.
A chocolate fountain is a catering equipment that you put melted chocolate in that flows through, and then you dip wonderful things into it. And then I melt it down, and because it has to be at a certain viscosity to go through the fountain. So I melt it at home and I bring it here. We put a little bit of cocoa butter in it because the higher the cocoa butter content, the more it's going to flow.
Ms. Bradley likes to add salty crackers, cookies, and fruit to a chocolate fountain.
Totally unlimited, but these are pretty much the favorite. So the fruits that are popular are strawberries, pineapple, and bananas. So those three. We also use dried fruits, so dried mangoes, dried apricots. Those are really good.
A chocolate fountain this size requires about 9 or 10 kilograms of liquid chocolate. That is enough to serve up to 150 people.
I love it. I really love chocolate, and having things to dip in it makes it even more better.
Fabulous. It was such a great break from the day. I mean, who doesn't love chocolate?
I'm June Sims.
The livestock show and rodeo in Houston helps to educate people about farm life. and agriculture. For families from farms, being around cows is part of everyday life. But the Houston Rodeo's Joel Cowley says that is not true of most Americans.
Less than 2% of the U.S. population is involved in production agriculture, directly involved. And of the 6 million people that live in the Houston metro area, those that come to our show, this may be the only direct interaction they have with agriculture.
The rodeo has exhibits that show where food comes from, how worms can improve the fertility of soil, and how important bees are to crops. Children get close to cows, sheep, and pigs, and they can see newborn chicks right out of the shell. They can also see newborn calves, lambs, and piglets. They might even see one of these animals being born. Jackie Hill is a volunteer guide.
How do you know when the cows give birth? Their muscles will start to contract and they'll start to dilate and open up, and then you'll be able to hopefully see the head of the cow.
Ms. Hill grew up on a farm in central Texas.
And it's surprising to me what little some kids know, and some adults even.
I'm Ted Landfair.
Question: which program is in Guinness World Records as the world's longest-running TV quiz show?
It's Academic!
It's Academic is a Saturday morning television program for high school students. The show has been broadcast in the Washington area for 50 years. Teams from local schools face subjects like history, literature, mathematics, science, and sports. Susan Altman is the producer of the show.
First of all, it's a great age group to work with. They're fun, they're enthusiastic, they say funny things without even meaning to half the time.
Ms. Altman's mother, Sophie, was a TV producer in the 1950s. She started It's Academic after local officials asked her to create a program that showed extraordinary students.
And at that time, this was in 1961, the United States, of course, was going through a lot of upheaval with school integration, and they wanted things to help out, to make the schools look good, and to show that integration could work and work well.
The show's host, Mac McGarry, says the teams became more diverse over the years.
When we first started, the young people from various countries were not in evidence so much. But now, each program presents young people from all over the world, or at least descendants of people from all over the world. So this is a microcosm of the way America is today.
Mac McGarry is 85 years old. He has hosted It's Academic since the beginning. He has asked more than 200,000 questions. He's gotten more than a few funny answers.
We had a question one time: who defeated Napoleon at Waterloo? And the young fellow answered, Duke Ellington. So another time we had a question about who, along with Frederick Engels, wrote the Communist Manifesto. Groucho Marx.
The correct answers are the Duke of Wellington and Karl Marx. Kelly Reeder knows that. She led the team from Rockville High School in Maryland last year.
Me and all the other people who are on the team, we've put in a lot of effort over the years and a lot of time to be where we are. So, and I mean, it's a really huge honor to end up on the A-team.
Her school has won the championship on It's Academic several times. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton competed on the show when she was a teenager. So did astronaut Timothy Creamer. Maybe one of these students will also rise to fame. I'm Barbara Klein.
Ford's Theater in Washington has opened a new education center. It tells about President Abraham Lincoln, who was shot in the theater just after the Civil War ended. The new center has a 10-meter-high tower of 7,000 books about the president. Tracy Evant says there are more books about Abraham Lincoln than about any other American.
He's just continued to be fascinating, and people throughout every generation seem to want to redefine who Abraham Lincoln is to them.
The center has a recreation of the train car that carried Mr. Lincoln's body. There also is a recreation of the building where John Wilkes Booth, the president's killer, was himself shot and killed. Charlie Doerr likes the computerized exhibits.
I think it's pretty cool, pretty high tech for Abraham Lincoln.
The center was opened to answer questions about the president.
And he's still very relevant to us today, so we want people to walk away having a better understanding of what it was about Abraham Lincoln that made him relevant, makes him relevant today, and has made him such a popular president.
The Civil War began after 11 southern states split from the North over the rights of states, including slavery. The center's Tracy Evant says some people questioned President Lincoln's actions, but he was respected.
It has a lot to do with his leadership style and his personality, the things that he championed, the fact that he had an ability to relate to the common person because he had come from, humble roots himself.
The center shows other American presidents and world leaders who have used the words of President Lincoln.
His writing encompassed really big ideas, championed important issues, but he wrote in a very eloquent but very simple style, which was not really the tradition at the time.
The center has created a video showing Americans using the words of President Lincoln.
All American citizens are brothers of a common country. Our house cannot escape this.
I'm Steve Evans.
Boys have their hair removed at the start of a 5-day retreat. This gathering gives them a chance to learn about Buddhism's teachings and the life of a Buddhist monk. Many Chinese Americans go to the Si Lai Temple in Los Angeles. Miao Shi, the director of outreach, says American Buddhism is divided largely along ethnic lines.
That's why there's Chinese Buddhism, there's Tibetan Buddhism, there's Japanese Buddhism, and so on. So I think that right now we have some form of American Buddhism as well.
Kusala Bhikshu is an American-born clergyman. He says Buddhism has a long history in the United States.
And it now has dug its roots into the soil of America. So there are people, being myself born in Iowa, people who were born in America who are coming as a convert to Buddhism, some becoming ordained as Buddhist monks or nuns, and bringing those teachings to everyday Americans.
The Dalai Lama may be the world's best-known Buddhist. He enjoys wide respect among Americans. He has some well-known followers, including actor Richard Gere. There are Tibetan Buddhist centers around the United States. This one near Redding, California, is a teaching and spiritual center. Kusala Bhikshu says his center in Los Angeles brings together several Buddhist schools. He studied under a teacher from Sri Lanka. His center is in a Korean-American neighborhood and was opened by a monk from Vietnam. He says Buddhist teachings differ a little from one tradition to the next. At the Si Lai Temple, the central teaching is the same: a respect for the tradition, a desire to change because of the American experience, and a search for unity among people of all beliefs.
Every being is connected, as like we're connected to this world. So I think we should be working towards harmonizing with one another. Harmony and peace would be something that we should all work towards.
Buddhists say there is a bridge that links the many forms of American Buddhism. It is the American-born children who share a Buddhist faith and American culture. I'm Mario Ritter.
12-year-old Marius Dacianu has found hope and a new family in the United States.
I do karate, and I'm going to go basketball.
Marius was born in Romania. At the age of 9, his parents died in a house fire. Marius suffered serious burns over 75% of his body. Americans Jessica Free and Ashley Ludlow visited Marius at a Romanian hospital. The young women got their families involved and received help from the Shriners Hospital for Children in Los Angeles.
Perfect. And then open again, and then squeeze tight.
Marius had both of his big toes removed and connected to his hands to replace his fingers. Dr. Catherine Au says Marius is hopeful about the future.
He lost all of his fingers, essentially, burned his face, lost his entire nose, and if you talk to him now, he has the most girlfriends, he was class valedictorian, he does everything, nothing stops him.
Marius faces many more operations. His American foster mother is Lynn Woodward.
He's the most amazing kid you'll ever meet. He inspires everybody wherever he goes. He makes friends so easily, he makes people feel comfortable. He's got a really amazing set of social skills. He really does.
Marius's older brother, Yonut, brought the boy to America as Marius's legal guardian. Yonut later married one of the young women who found Marius in the hospital. Lynn Woodward's husband, Paul, expects many good things for Marius.
It's going to be nice to see what the future holds and see him grow to be a man and get married and have children of his own, and hopefully give us many grandchildren and maybe some great-grandchildren if we're around long enough.
First, however, a full recovery will require time. Marius's doctor and foster family say his hopefulness and good cheer will help them all get through it. I'm Barbara Women become top chefs in New York City. But Fatima Ali has done so. She is the assistant chef at Cafe Centro. She may be the only non-American female chef at any of 70 top New York restaurants. Ms. Ali grew up in Pakistan. She says her training in America has taught her a lot about food.
There are so many things that I have been exposed to in the U.S. that I may not have been exposed to in Pakistan, like the plethora of ingredients that are available here. But it's been really interesting taking what I have learned in America and then whenever I go back home to visit and cooking for my family and friends with the ingredients that I love from there.
In July, Fatima Ali competed with other chefs on the Food Network TV show Chopped. She won the top prize of $10,000.
The fact that I won, I suppose, was such wonderful validation for all the sacrifices that my family has made, that I have made to put myself through school and to be away from home for so long. It felt like it was all really worth it. And the biggest thing for me was to inspire other young Pakistani girls to follow their dreams.
Good, looks good.
Jan Hoffman is the executive chef at Cafe Centro.
She has great potential, and I give her another 2 to 3 years and she definitely will be a master chef.
Fatima Ali hopes to return to Pakistan to create services where poor families enjoy low-cost, healthy meals and where young people can learn cooking and other job skills. I'm Barbara Klein.